He's ready to go on the Fan, New York Sports Radio. Mike's on, Mike's on. He'll get you the sports any way that he can. It's Mike Francesa on the Fan. Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM WFAN.
From the studios of WFAN, this is Mike's on, Francesa on the Fan, on this Tuesday, the 14th day of November. How time flies. Tomorrow in prime time, 7:30 tomorrow night, our prime time program from the Tiller Center comes your way. So finally that's here. So all the folks who have tickets, we'll see you all out there tomorrow. All the people who won tickets, we'll see you out there tomorrow. And the people in the contest who will be playing for up to $10,000 in prizes, we'll see them there tomorrow. So that's, and you can listen to it on the Fan. If you don't have a seat, you can listen to it tomorrow night without commercial interruption at 7:30. Tomorrow night it will start sharp tomorrow night. All right, we begin today on this November the 14th, which means we have a month to go in real time. Our last show will be December the 15th, but it's interesting. Some moves get a lot of attention, some get very little. A move yesterday that really got very little attention will be every bit as important as anything that happens with the Yankee manager. The Yankees had one thing they had to do, and they did it, and that was they had to return one coach to that staff. Had to return, and he did. Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, had to come back. That guy is invaluable. He might be the only guy who returns from last year's staff. Doesn't matter. As long as he returns, the loss would have been enormous. The fact that he's back is every bit as important as whoever, maybe more important than whoever becomes the manager next year. That's how big that move is. That's how important his role is on that team. So the idea of that is a big, big piece of the puzzle. Not a little piece, a big piece of the puzzle. Doesn't get any attention. I know it's not a move that's going to get headlines and no one's even going to notice it and probably didn't even pay attention to it. But it is incredibly important to what the Yankees do next year, what they did this year, how they develop their pitchers, how they scout pitches, how they come up with game plans. That is so effective. So worth his weight in gold to the staff. And he is back, which is a very big key no matter where the Yankees go, whether you're into this first-time manager. And I know now you're hearing that, Beltran's name more. That would surprise me, I have to admit. If that is where they go, that would really surprise me in a big way. But we'll see what happens as that unfolds in the days and maybe weeks to come, how long it takes. But this was the one piece that had to happen. It did. I thought it would anyway, but it did. And the Yankees took care of business in a very big way. There aren't many times where a Knicks game has made it to the top of a show. But last night's game was fascinating on a lot of levels. We talked yesterday about what had gone on with LeBron, who likes sometimes to, send messages when he comes to New York to kind of stir things up a little bit. He said that he meant it for Phil, but he obviously brought a little edge onto the court with him last night, and the fans got on him right from the start. Every time he touched the ball in the first half, and he was very quiet in the first half. But every time he touched the ball, they booed him. He started to get a little fed up with that. Now the Knicks start off and get off, and they get going. Now the Knicks are stealing the ball and dunking, stealing the ball and making threes. The place is going crazy. They're down 15 points, and we have the little incident where he bumps the rookie, and the rookie doesn't back down. So you have the little incident, and then Kanter gets in and really gets into it with LeBron. And now you finally see in the second quarter that LeBron gets angry. And you say, you know what's coming in the second half. Well, it took a while for it to finally get going because the Knicks spread the lead all the way to, there was a point where you thought in the third quarter they had this game over. And then all of a sudden, those last couple of minutes of quarters are so important. They chipped that thing down at the end of the third quarter. And when Korver hit his first three, you knew that was an ominous sign. And then obviously LeBron and the Cavs went to work, raining threes in the fourth quarter. LeBron doing something that you have to really guard against when you have a big lead, and that is when you're playing them. And the Knicks got really caught up in it, and that is that LeBron will suck you into his drives, which, remember, if he makes it, which he will, let's say 80% of the time, they're only worth 2 points. He wants to suck you in and get an open three for somebody else, which is what he kept doing. So he's piling up this assist. They're raining threes. Knicks can't find themselves. They wind up getting outscored by 18 points in the fourth quarter and lose a very tough ball game that you can see some rays of sunshine. You're used to the good teams coming to Garden and spanking the Knicks. You're used to LeBron coming to the Garden and having his way. But last night, the Knicks stood tall. They acted like a team. They had each other's back, despite what was a rare, poor game from the floor for Porzingis. One of the first one I've seen him have this year. They even overcame that for long periods of time. Tough loss when you look at it from a standpoint of, boy, they blew a big lead. They didn't do certain things, but they showed they could play with a team that right now is not very good, but has the makings of being better when things sort themselves out and get a little more serious. And that they are developing a little chemistry. They're a team. They're standing up for each other. They're acting like a team. The place is alive. It was a fun game. It was a fun experience. That was the good part of it. It was a fun experience last night. They lost. Bad loss. Okay, a lot of things you could have done differently. Can't give up 43 points in the fourth quarter, even in the LeBron. Made some silly mistakes, some silly plays, but you also saw some good things last night. You really did. The biggest one being that Candace stuck up for his teammate, and that they're together, and that they're playing like a team, and they're acting like a team, and it was fun. Yeah, they lost the game, 104-101 after having a big lead. Okay. Yeah, they should have put the game away in the third quarter. They were an inch away from putting the game away in the third quarter. Okay. So be it. But you know what? The Garden's alive. The team's alive. It's starting to act like a team. And that's what the good thing you're going to take out of last night's game. There are better days ahead. That's what you're starting to see here. There are better days ahead. And it's been a while since you've had a guy come in there and actually act like a teammate, like Canada did. He acted like a teammate. Actually had somebody's back. And not because he needed to get a shot or not because he thought it was the right thing to do. So from that standpoint, it was good to see. And you saw why LeBron is still here's the one thing you notice. The flurries, the ability to dominate. The stretches are getting shorter. Other than the fact that he can't close out play after play on defense anymore, that's the first thing you see is the stretches of brilliance are getting shorter. There has to be pacing involved over 48 minutes. And that's, the one opponent he can't beat. Age. No one can. But from that standpoint, very, very fun night. I understand it's a W you wanted, but a lot of good things came out of that in a lot of different ways. A lot of good things came out of that game last night. So from that standpoint, a distinct positive. It really was. Not much of a football game last night. Didn't expect one. Did not expect one in any way. That division is going to be very interesting now. With Atlanta wiping out the Cowboys on Sunday and going to 5-4. Carolina now has 7 wins. New Orleans has won 7 straight. There's a lot of big battles to be played. Atlanta still has 5 division games. They have 2 big battles home and away with New Orleans coming up. And if you understand a little NFL history, Atlanta, New Orleans has always been a bitter rivalry. So that will be ratcheted up this year. And then Carolina, which has already beaten Atlanta at home, is in the mix. So Atlanta's got 5 division games. Somebody, maybe two, but at least one are not going to the playoffs. And if you look at the NFC right now, there's a lot of teams in the mix for the playoff spots. Philly, Dallas, New Orleans, Carolina, Atlanta, Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay, Rams, and Seattle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams. 10 teams for 6 spots. Philly, Minnesota look very strong in their respective divisions. Rams, New Orleans, already 7-2. That's a pretty good leg up to get to the playoffs. The other guys, a lot of fighting to be done. A lot of fighting to be done. You're going to have to scrounge 10 wins out of this, and that means if you're the Cowboys and you're 5-4, if you are the Packers and you're hoping that the guy with the cape is going to come throw the cape off and come back, you're 5-4. You're the Lions. You got an easy schedule. You're 5-4. You got to get to 10 wins, which means 5-2 the rest of the way, minimum, if you want to go to the playoffs. If you want to go to the playoffs in the NFC, you're going to have to win 10. The AFC is top heavy. It's about 3 teams. The NFC might have a couple of teams that look like they can dominate the divisions for different reasons, but it is a crazy chase, fun chase. The only problem is Giants are already pressed, have their nose pressed to the window. They're on the outside, and they don't have anything to do with it, which is kind of sad, as we know, with a lot of football still to play. Back after this.
If you're